morning. Well, Merry Christmas again. And you know, I've got my latest Christmas animal that sings, and of course, I did the other one last week. I'm going to do one today, do another one next weekend, and then we got one more week after that, and then I'll have a recap and do them all at the same time too. So I don't remember where the microphone is on this one. So, oh well. I just love this stuff. You know, I think I enjoy Christmas more now than when I was a kid. No, I definitely do. So, these are some pictures. I don't know if anybody really wants to see them, but I looked at them and I go, well, these are fun. We've got balloons. Everybody's got balloons, and they released them, and so. I just see a hand underneath coming under cleaning. Oh, hello! I assumed it was attached to somebody. Oh, I know. Yeah, I spilled coffee down myself this morning in my room. And things that make you go, have to make you stop and think for a minute. The trouble with using experience as a guide is the final exam often comes first and then the lesson. So true. You know, and as many years as I've been doing this book and going back and doing things again, almost every time I will find one additional that I like that I didn't see before. So I did that today and found one. It says, this is from Dr. Samuel Johnson, 1709. Those who do not feel pain seldom think that it is felt. Ooh, that's deep. How could I have not gotten that one before? But I didn't. So, all right. Things going on at the church. Well, of course, we have Qigong every Sunday morning at 9:15 in the back. If you're wondering what Qigong is, ask Mary Ann. She's right there, right at the end of the aisle. So, and then we are doing a oneness blessing. We start the second Sunday service with a oneness blessing, and then if you forgot and didn't do it now, you could do it again after services, right? You are still going to allow that? Okay, good. And emotion code tomorrow. Essential oils on Wednesday. I'm not getting a rebuttal, so. Okay. Introduction to Qigong Healing with Mary Ann on Wednesday, right? Okay. If you want to know what that is, you need to talk to Mary Ann because it's Introduction to Qigong Healing. So, DVD night and party night for ARE on Thursday. Whispers from the Other Side with Valerie. You're going to talk about that? Okay.
So, I was in the kitchen the other day making almond roca. It's a really cool, easy recipe. Yeah, score.
Home kitchen, not the church kitchen. So.
And gone. It's gone. Almond roca, yes.
Oh, it is.
I've shared that recipe on Facebook.
If you've had almond roca in the stores, this is nothing like that. This is really good.
Anyway, how do we get off on that? So anyway, I'm stirring around and I see splashed up on the splatter on the side of the pan, it says H-I-J-A-N. And I knew it was my mom. My mother loved to make candy. And I knew it was my mom, and I started crying, and I was stirring, and of course it dripped and went back in the pan, but I was crying and stirring and stirring and crying, and I realized that I was really ready to hear from my mom, who's passed away, 7 years now, 8 years now? So Valerie is going to do Whispers from the Other Side on Friday night. And this is your opportunity to connect in with loved ones on the other side. So a portion of the proceeds are going to go back to the church. We start at 6:30. Is that what you said? Yeah, 6:30. So if you have someone on the other side you'd like to connect with, Valerie will lead us in that process. So hopefully you'll join us then. Thank you.
And then Sandy Lang on Saturday will be doing the Emergent Spiritual Awakening for kids. Teens, yeah, not kids. Well, they are kids, but Actually, isn't that interesting? The older you get, it doesn't matter how old your kids are, they're still just kids. So, and it doesn't matter if they're 40 or 50 or whatever, they're just our kids. So, what do they know, right? Of course, they say the same thing about us, right? So, okay. Okay. The nursery rhyme, The Merry Tales of the Madmen of Gotham, published in the middle 16th century, describing a legendary village in England whose inhabitants were notorious for their foolishness, seems to be the recognized source for the name Gotham. It was applied to New York by Washington Irving in 1807 in the humorous periodical Salmagundi, which is the name of a mixed dish of chopped meat and pickled herring with oil, vinegar, pepper, onions, and therefore a potpourri. The word Gotham today, as we know it, means a village or a city where they have a mixed population. Interesting. Yeah, I had no idea that there was actually a reason for that word. I just thought it was Batman. So, yeah, I mean, thought he did it. Lightning strikes 6,000 times per minute on this planet. That's a lot of lightning. That's very enlightening. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It just slips out. I'm sorry. We do have a couple patron saints by the name of George Carlin and John Lennon. And John said, I believe in God, but not as one thing, not as some old man in the sky. I believe that what people call God is something in all of us. I believe that Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and all the rest said it was right. It's just the translations that have gone wrong. And George, what was the best thing before sliced bread? I don't know. I'll have to think about that all day long now. Something I forgot to kind of wrap up. I talked a little bit last week about these the policemen in Clare, Michigan that bought that bakery, and they brought this thing back, and now they've got bakeries everywhere. They're doing great. Have 167 year-round employees. I mean, they have just done an amazing job of this. But my point, I forgot to bring it all around because I got so excited about talking about them. Donuts, hey, what can I say? But Clare, Michigan, I guess, downtown was just about nothing left of it. I mean, it was pretty down and out, and not much there. Had this bakery. After they bought the bakery, you could almost not find a parking spot. It started growing, and other businesses came in, and this business came in, all from a bunch of guys that said, hey, let's buy a bakery. My point is that everybody can make a difference. I mean, it's amazing what sometimes can happen. Not every time, but sure as heck sometimes. So keep trying. T-shirts and sweatshirts that are wonderful. We should remove warning labels from everything and let the stupidity take care of itself. I like that. I never use any turn signal. It's nobody's business where I'm going. Scary. I'm looking for someone who will bring home the bacon. And by bacon, I mean bacon. I'm sorry, what language are you speaking? It sounds like all right, bull. It's a t-shirt. Caution, may not get along with others. It's probably the antlers. So. All right. So is everybody going to be around town? Anybody doing anything really, really special for Christmas? Going to meet family, probably, or no earth-shattering? Not going to go up and cut down a Christmas tree, maybe? No? Gosh. An elderly gentleman. I guess that means me, doesn't it, almost? Still just hard to believe. I had a client the other night. She was 23. I was talking to her about 8:30 at night, working with some health insurance, and her father had some questions about Medicare and everything. And I hadn't met her. It was all on the phone. And she couldn't tell me how old her father was, just that he's really old. And at some point it slipped out, and guess what? Yeah, I really old? So all perception, right? Yeah, I suppose at 23, you know, everybody our age seems really old. So, all right, anyway. Hey, this guy had a serious hearing problem for a number of years. He went to the doctor, and the doctor was able to have him fitted for a set of hearing aids that allowed the gentleman to hear 100%. The elderly gentleman went back in a month to the doctor, and the doctor said, "You're hearing perfect. Your family must be really pleased that you can hear again." The gentleman replied, "Oh, I haven't told him yet." Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just sit around listening to the conversations. I've changed my will 3 times. It did, it worked. First time. I don't know if anybody liked the Muppets as much as I do. So we've got a Muppets Christmas Carol that we're going to put up here. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's silly. But hey, it's Christmas, right? So.
Stay close, Phil. I might need you. I do this. It's life's little successes that mean so much. Fun stuff today. First of all, did you read in the paper where the Pope is wanting to change the Lord's Prayer? Like I've been saying, it's not lead us into temptation, but it's delivers. Don't let us fall into that. So I've been saying. Delivers from ego. That's also good. Okay, I want to talk to you today about a process that normally I do one-on-one with people. And has anybody done a soul-to-soul conversation with me before in this group? Oh, fresh blood. Should not let me watch Muppets before I speak. It's just a bad thing. Soul-to-soul conversations or communication is this beautiful process by which we can really, really be heard. Now there's a trick to it. And if I'm usually talking in a one-on-one session with someone and we do a soul-to-soul communication with someone else, there's a special protocol that I do. I don't want to do that with a group because I need to be, usually I'm there with a person and I can see and experience what they're experiencing and can guide the journey. So I'm going to tweak it just a little bit for a group situation. But the first thing I want you to know about that is that, pardon me, I got something in my eye, is that our soul cannot hear a negative. I'm going to give you an example of that. Please don't sit down. Please don't sit down. Don't sit down. There you go. Finally, somebody says, "Oh, I have to stand up." We couldn't get the negative. We can't hear the negative. Our soul doesn't hear the negative. Now, our soul can perceive negative energy. So if you're soul-to-soul communicating with someone, or if you're just in the same room with someone and you don't like them, they can feel the energy. But to really communicate with someone on a soul-to-soul level, they can't hear a negative. They can only hear a positive. They can only hear the truth. Now here's the thing. You can be upset with someone, but when you're speaking the truth, there's no energetic, emotional attachment. It's neutral. The truth is neutral. So if you're upset with someone, and you want to have a soul-to-soul conversation with them, it's going to be vital for you to find neutral. And here's the deal. When we get into that place of neutral and you're speaking your truth, that also allows you to be open to hear the truth. To hear the truth. There's so much I want to share with you about this. Let me share one. Let me start here. So I had a friend, she just had an argument with her spouse, and And so I went over to her house and we did this soul-to-soul conversation. It took us a while because she was so upset. It took a while to get to this place of finding the truth. And when she spoke her truth, she listened, and there was communication back to her in this realm of truth. As soon as we came out of the guided meditation about that, phone rings, and it's her husband apologizing for his part of the argument. And she was able to apologize for her part of the argument. This is profound. People can hear a soul-to-soul conversation when we walk you through this process. People can hear that when they can't hear the words coming out of your mouth. Because we have our own stuff going on in our head. We're full of judgments and criticisms of ourselves, of others, our expectations of here's how it should be, our expectations of what the other person should do. They can't hear us. And we can't hear them because we're all clouded with this stuff. But finding that place of truth is really, really neutral and is profoundly helpful. Because guess what? Our souls are trying to learn. That's what we came here to do, is learn stuff. And sometimes learning is hard and painful. And sometimes we don't want to. We go straight to ego. No, there's nothing wrong with me. You're the one that's wrong. We have to make somebody else wrong. And then we can justify our behavior, even if we know we're not living to the highest potential that we could be. Well, we don't know anything different. But our soul came to learn and came to get that information. So it's vital that we speak to one another with truth. It's vital that we speak to one another in this place of neutrality. We don't get neutrality in our world right now. There's nothing but fired up, incensed hostility. And nobody can hear anything. Especially in our own families and our relationships. We can't hear each other because we're all fired up. Because we have to be right and the other guy's got to be wrong. They should do this. Remember the shoulda, coulda, woulda, oughta, gotta, must, have to, always, and never. So anytime we say any of those words, we're not in truth. We're in that other place that is trying to justify and fix our world. We're trying to make our world okay, but we're trying to make our world okay by making them do it differently. Good luck with that. You know, it's a planet of free choice. If people had different information, they might do it differently. But they're not going to do it differently if you tell them what to do. How many people love to be told what to do? Lo and behold, there was only a half a hand. And he was being funny. Oh yeah, tell me what to do. Yeah, right. See how that works for you. No, we don't like to be told what to do. So the soul-to-soul communication is about speaking your truth in a neutral way to impart information so people can grow. And you might benefit from their growth if they choose that. And if not, then you have a right to choose how your relationship is from there on. Because this is about choice. If you take someone else's choice from them, you have not honored them. If you take the choice away from yourself by having expectation or demanding from yourself, did that light just flicker? Then, okay, here's some truth here then. If that flickers, there's truth. It's important to recognize that truth is neutral, and finding this place of neutrality is really, really important. Now, the Good Book has some things to say about that. Whether you're a follower of the way or not, this is ancient text, wisdom from ancient times, and we can receive that, whether you're a follower of the way or not. Psalms 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. So we're going to do meditation here in a bit. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable. That's a beautiful thing. A couple more here. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So we want to turn away wrath. We don't want people to be angry. No one learns when there's anger happening. I wish our political people would get that. A man has joy in an apt answer. How delightful is a timely word. This soul-to-soul communication, it's a timely word. It's important information that a significant person in your world it's necessary for them to hear, for their spiritual growth. Pleasant words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. We want this communication to be sweet. How many people would prefer having someone speak sweetly to you? Here's my favorite. I have lots of favorites, but okay, here's one of my favorites. This is Proverbs 25:11. Like apples of gold in settings of silver is a word spoken in right circumstances. Isn't that beautiful? Apples of gold in settings of silver. It's beautiful. This soul-to-soul communication I'm going to share with you is beautiful and important for us to recognize the value and the power of it. The whole law, this is in the New Testament, Galatians chapter 5, verse 14. For the whole law, Old Testament law, is fulfilled in one word in the statement, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. When we get in that state of love, that's all that matters. That's the key. That's the key. Let your speech, this is Colossians 4:6. Let your speech always be with grace, seasoned as it were with salt, so that you may know how you should respond to each person. So let your speech be with grace. And the definition of grace is unmerited favor. So maybe you're talking to someone that you love, but you're really torqued off at them right now. And they don't deserve for you to be nice to them. They deserve for you to be scathing. Give them grace. Bring yourself into that state of grace. Apples of gold and settings of silver. Beautiful. Be beautiful with your words. I'm telling you this because sometimes we are so mean to ourselves. What's the last thing you told yourself, you stupid chick? Obviously, I've said that a time or two. I just jumped right out there. Okay. And the camera's live. Okay. Uncensored. We'll just let it be what it is. Yeah, good try with that. No. So we say mean things to ourselves, and we forget that this place of truth, even for ourselves, is neutral. It's without pain, shame, blame, all of that. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is past stuff that I regret. I should have done it differently. I could have done it differently. I would have done it differently, but I didn't. So I must be some sort of a schmuck, right? Oughta, gotta, must is what's in the future. I gotta do that. I ought to do it this way. I must take care of that. Duty, obligation, responsibility. That, where's the fun in that, right? Where's the love and joy in that? Where's the grace in that? Not it. Have to, always, and never. I have to do this. You always do that. You never do this. All of those are statements that we say that take us out of power and out of grace. And we say them to ourselves and to others. So here in a minute, I'm going to walk you through this process to have a soul-to-soul conversation. So there's two things I need you to do with that. Two things that are important to do for this situation, for this guided meditation. First of all, who are you going to talk to? Who is someone that cannot hear the words coming out of your mouth because they've got programming going on? Figure that out. Decide who you want to talk to. Then the second thing is, what do you really want them to know? I want you to stop chewing with your mouth open. Okay, how is that going to, the soul cannot hear that. What if you, because, okay, nobody I know in my world does that, but let's just use that as an example. So if that's a really thing that really bothers you, why does it bother you? Because it's irritating. Well, get underneath all of that. Dig a little deeper, get underneath that. And maybe what the truth is I really would like to have a heart conversation with you, and I shut down when you do that. When we eat a meal, that's the only time we sit and we can actually focus on one another. And I don't get to because I'm shutting down because there's food falling out of your mouth. Does that make sense? So finding a place of neutral, I find myself shutting down when we're having a meal. Is there any way you would be willing to allow us deeper conversation during mealtime? They know they're eating with their mouth open. And then you allow them to respond. Maybe the response is something you don't want to hear. Maybe the response back to you is, well, I chew with my mouth open, so you'll quit haranguing me about what I should be doing. That's the kind of things that you'll hear in a soul-to-soul conversation. You'll get the truth. And sometimes the truth is something we don't want to hear. Because it's far easier to blame the other person than it is to see what my part is in it. But when you see your part in it, then you can go, oh, so how about if we pick a topic or we choose to talk about, instead of what I think you should be doing, why don't we talk about a trip we'd like to take? And see how that flies, all right? So having the soul-to-soul conversation is deep, and it's really, really important. It's important to speak your truth, and it's important to hear your truth. Hear the truth back to you. Does that make sense? Where I'm going to take you today is we're going to go to the library, and you're going to have a guide that will take you to, you can choose whatever guide you want or see who shows up to be your guide. And you're going to ask to use the conference room. In the conference room are a couple of chairs and a table. And often there's a light, whether it's a light switch or a candelabra, a candle, a lantern, something, some illumination. So as you are led to this conference room and you're led into the conference room, you'll either be gifted with some form of light, or you can ask for that or create it in your imagination. It's all the same. Okay? So first of all, have you got your person that you want to talk to? Figured out somebody that you want to talk to? Okay. Second of all, when we get in this process, we're going to invite their soul to come and visit your soul. Now, your consciousness is taking a journey into the library. Your physical form is here. You're still grounded here. Their soul will come and meet with you. But they could be driving a car, they could be stirring gravy, they could be carving a turkey, they could be doing all kinds of things, and you're not going to diminish their awareness of what they're doing. Their soul is capable of being with you and being with them. Does that make sense? So we're going to invite them in. And they'll sit in one chair, you sit in the other chair, and then we'll have this conversation. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak your truth. Now, do you have your truth? Do you know what your truth is? Anybody struggling with that? Anybody need some help finding the right words for that? Anybody struggling? Oh, cool. Good. You're struggling? Okay. So what would you like to say? What is it you're trying to find words for?
How to get along.
How to get along? All right. So your truth is, I want to get along. And their truth could be, I can't. Or I don't know how. So you could ask, would you be willing to tell me what you're feeling? Telling me what you're thinking? And see what their response to that is. So what is getting along? There's more, sorry. There's more to that. So what does getting along look like for you? Honesty. Okay, so that's a whole other thing. So in this soul to soul, you're asking for this honest truth. Some people are not capable of expressing that. But you'll know. And if they are, maybe they need something from you. So how can I help you be more honest with me? Because there may be things that we're doing that set them up to say, oh, I can't tell her what I feel. Make sense? So again, speaking your truth. So your truth could be, I want us to get along. I really like us to get along. I'm ready to hear your truth. See how neutral that is? I'm ready to hear your truth. Whatever. And then that opens the door to conversation. Make sense? So we're going to have this little conversation back and forth. You're going to speak your truth to them in a way that is full of grace and kindness and beauty. Right? And you're going to let them speak their truth to you. Give you time for that. Then you're going to give them a gift. Perhaps it's a word or a thought or a feeling, or perhaps it's a symbolic object. If getting along or hearing someone's truth, a really wonderful gift would be a bell. So bell is all about a ring true. Maybe they don't know their own ring true. So here, have a bell so you can discern what truth feels like. So you have that sense of it. You can, even if you don't know what the symbolism is of what gift appears for you to give them, just give that gift with love and this neutral energy. This is not, I'm giving you this damn gift. Now guess what? Give me something back. Because here's the thing. Whatever you give them is automatically given to you. So if you give them a bell, you automatically are given a bell. And often they'll just appear in your energy field. You'll have a sense of them being there. Sometimes they'll physically manifest in your life. Next thing you know, somebody's, oh, look, I found this bell. I thought it was really cute. You need that. Out of the blue. So don't be surprised if physically it isn't manifested in your life. So even if you don't know what you want to give them, it will come to you in that moment, because we're going in this guided meditation place. And in this meditation, our creativity is higher, and our intuition is more locked in. Remember me telling you about this heart math stuff that my brother is researching? He bought this little gizmo that you click your ear and it reads not just your heartbeat, but your heartbeat and how it's interacting with your mind. The part of your mind where there's judgment and criticism is behind the frontal cortex, where all the intuition and the insights and higher thinking is. And so I was doing a process. Remember the Maori healing circle that we did here? Well, I've tweaked all of that and did it for the Dream Questers that have completed Dream Quest, and I used all the power realms in that. So I was test driving it, give it to my brother, and he was doing this. And as he started drawing, his heart connection, heart-mind connection soared. It was at like 1.25 or something. Soared up to 4.25. It was the highest he'd ever been. He was drawing, and then he started drawing something, and it was a bird. He said, "Oh, that's a really stupid bird." Stay out of judgment. When we judge another person, our ability to be intuitively tuned in and to be spiritually connected diminishes drastically. Stay out of judgment about yourself, about this process, about the other person. This is not about judging them. This is about speaking truth. Apples of gold in settings of silver. Beautiful, beautiful truth. So are you ready? All right, let's take a deep breath in.